What's up, you guys? How's it going? Welcome back to my Vancouver Canucks weekly recap. I'm going to be recapping the last week of Vancouver Canucks games and taking a look and seeing how they did and kind of giving my opinion on the games. Now, I've been pondering lately as if this is something I want to do after every single game and have a nightly recap or just a game recap of the Canucks. If that's something you guys would like me to do, then show support on this video, hit the like button, also comment down below and let me know. It'll be something that I'll have to do right after the game. I could probably get the videos uploaded at around like 10:30 PST after every game, especially if it's a late game. It starts at 7, usually done kind of close to 10ish. So I think I could get the video recorded, edited, and put out in time for like 10:30. If that's something you guys would like me to do, let me know. But this week, the Vancouver Canucks finished off their road trip in Nashville, then head home for their homestand and a back-to-back against the St. Louis Blues and the New York Rangers. Before looking at the game and how they did, I'm going to first say that the Vancouver Canucks were very impressive, in my opinion, in all 3 games. In all 3 games they played, I was genuinely impressed as a fan and enjoyed watching every single one of them. It wasn't like the game that they played a few weeks ago against Philadelphia Flyers where it was hard to watch and painful to watch. That's actually surprisingly a one-off from the Canucks so far, because they actually looked really good in all 3 of these games. Vancouver Canucks finished the week, I'll tell you guys now, they finished the week 2-1 with their 1 loss coming to the New York Rangers, which we will dive into that kind of statistics in that game and the stats and everything in a bit here. But I mean, 2-1, that's not even 2-1. They're 2-0-1. They lost in overtime. So to lose one of those back-to-backs and the trailing one against the Rangers in overtime is huge, in my opinion. Like, that's a big-time W. I'm very impressed with them, and we'll talk about that more at the Rangers game. But let's start it off with the Canucks facing the Nashville Predators. They faced them October 24th on, I believe it was a Tuesday. And to be honest, this was a solid game too. It was a game where the Canucks, I think, genuinely kind of controlled play. There was a situation, I think it was in the 3rd period, where things looked a little bit iffy. You can see Mikheyev scored his first goal coming back, so that's very exciting. Then Colton Sissons, just a wicked snipe to tie that one up. Second period is where the scoring kind of finished. We got DiGiuseppe on a nice backhand, kind of a weird bouncing play, and then Nils Hoglander with a nice tip in, so that was kind of sick. And then Sherwood again ties it up. Now the Canucks kind of like played well. Like you guys can see here in the second period, they kind of dominated. 13-5 are the shots. And even in the 3rd period, they have a 1-goal lead and they still held Nashville to only 7 shots. Like, this seems like a very low shooting game here. The Canucks, I think, did well defensively. They did enough offensively to just squeak out a win here that night. And I think it was a good win. Like, sure, would you have loved to see Vancouver blow Nashville out of the water? Sure, but they're not going to be able to do that every game. I mean, they haven't done it to Nashville at all this season, and they're not going to be able to just blow every team out. So the fact their last road trip game, sometimes, you know, it's like the last game on the road, they're just like, I just want to go home, and maybe they come out a little slow. The Canucks actually came out and looked good, in my opinion, in pretty much every period. There was some points in that 3rd period where I thought maybe they were going to lose it, but they genuinely did a pretty good job. Like, I think if you're in the lead going into the 3rd period and you hold the opposing team to 7 shots in the 3rd period, that's a win in itself. Like, you're going to win games just by doing that. So that alone was a good period, in my opinion. Take a look at some of the stats here. You could see Nashville had better face-offs. A little surprising, but I mean, they got O'Reilly. They also had 3 power plays. The Canucks only had 1. So I know in the last weekly recap, we talked about special teams being a big thing. And again here, the penalty kill was great. We killed all 3 Nashville power plays. I don't know how good their power play is, but I mean, we killed all 3 of them. And we didn't score on our 1, but that's fine. I mean, you only have 1 chance. The big thing here is killing that 3 power plays there that Nashville Predators had. Because if we don't, then obviously that's a tie game, and who knows where things go, right? So the Vancouver Canucks beat the Nashville Predators there, a game that I was stoked on. I was like, that's good. Like, that's a good game. You know, they just had a 2-game losing streak against the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Philadelphia Flyers. It's good to see them come out and play hard, and that's exactly what they did. And then they continued it against the St. Louis Blues, who just came off a shutout win against the Calgary Flames, and Vancouver looked dominant. Honestly, even though we demolished the Edmonton Oilers in the first game, I think this game the Canucks played against the Blues was probably my favorite game to watch, because they just dominated like every single period, in my opinion. Like, it was such a low event for St. Louis game that I was genuinely not scared for the Canucks to lose this game a second in this game. Like, not at all. You can see here the Vancouver Canucks won 5-0. They absolutely dominated. And honestly, I will be, okay, you know how I said that I wasn't scared of the Canucks to lose at all? That's actually kind of a lie. I was genuinely scared after the first period, because the Vancouver Canucks had the lead, but they were also dominating in the shots. Like, we'll go down and take a look here. They had 19-3 were the shots, and I was like, oh my god. The Canucks had 19 shots on goal. I think they had a few power plays. They had 3 power plays in that first period, and they only scored 1 goal. I was like, this is the most Canucks thing I've ever seen in my life, and St. Louis is going to get back into this game, and the things are going to swing, and we're going to lose this game. That's genuinely not what happened. I think we just kind of carried the momentum and played pretty solid. The rest, you guys can see here, we had 11 shots. It was tied in the second period. So St. Louis kind of found their legs again, started playing a bit again. And then in the third period, they outshot us. I mean, we were in the lead, so that's to be expected. And the Vancouver Canucks just held them down. Like, they did not have really any good scoring chances in that third period. Like, it was very, honestly, in a good way, it was a very boring third period, like, to be honest. You guys can see the scoring. Quinn Hughes opens it in the first period. He then gets a second of the game in the second. It is so good to see Quinn Hughes scoring goals. You know, I think he deserves it. Quinn Hughes is so talented and so good that he's been working on his shot, and you can totally see, like, he really deserves this. DiGiuseppe scores a goal, which is sick. I think that one, if my memory is correct, was like a breakaway pass, so that's sick. JT Miller gets a short-handed goal. That was actually a really sick play. I remember this, like, just Petey intercepts a puck from Krug in center ice, and honestly, like, good on Petey, but Krug just handed it to him. Like, Petey didn't have to do anything at all, and then pass it to Miller, who makes a nice move, and then Ilya Mikheyev finished off the St. Louis Blues there, adding the 5th goal in the third period. So a really dominant game from the Vancouver Canucks. And truthfully, the special teams, like, wasn't even a big factor as far as, like, power plays go. You can see the St. Louis Blues were 0-2, so we killed off our 2 power plays. We did have 4 power plays, but we didn't score on any of them. So all our goals came 5-on-5. That's good, but that's also bad. You know, a team like St. Louis, who isn't the greatest, I think Vancouver should be capitalizing on that power play. So it is a little concerning that we went 0-for-4 against them on the power play. That's something that shouldn't happen, especially with the dominant first period that we had. We definitely should have been able to capitalize on at least one of them, if not 2. But the Vancouver Canucks looked good. There was genuinely, like, nobody in this game that I thought looked bad. It was just an all-around good game from everyone. Then we go to the back-to-back, okay? And this is where I was very intrigued on what was going to happen. The Vancouver Canucks played the New York Rangers. They ended up falling 4-3 in overtime. But there's so much to talk about in this game because this was a gutsy, good game from Vancouver that genuinely could have went either way. I know everyone's waiting for me to talk about the overtime penalty or what should have been a penalty on Elias Pettersson. I have a different view. I know a lot of people say, no, that should have been a penalty call, like that led to the Rangers' goal, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, sure, it could have been called. I think it's 50-50. You could look at it as though Petey's the one who ran into Trocheck's skate and fell, or you could look at it that Trocheck extended his skate. Honestly, Canucks fans are reaming out refs. I think it's 50-50. I genuinely, after looking back at it, I think it's 50-50. And to call a penalty in overtime on a OT that was so insane and just back and forth, it's kind of hard to say, you know, like if the puck goes down, they have a 3-on-1 and say they don't score and it goes back the other way and the Canucks score, no one's saying anything about the power play or about the missed penalty call. You know what I mean? It's just the situation that it led to a goal. Obviously, it's a shame. The Canucks had their chances. Like, don't get me wrong. We should have won this game. The penalties are what killed us, in my opinion. The Rangers scored 2 goals on 5-on-2s. In my opinion, or 5-on-3s, sorry. In my opinion, you should not be giving a team 1 5-on-3, let alone 2 in the same game. That literally costed us this game. That lost us this game because we played good enough to win this game if we don't take those penalties. Like, we look here, Panarin gets the first goal of the game. Rangers are up 1-0. I'm thinking, you know what? Like, Canucks, second of a back-to-back, first period, maybe a slow start. I was honestly impressed that we only got out of the period down 1-0. I thought they played hard. I thought it could have been 0-0, could have been 1-0. I genuinely thought 1-0 was pretty fair. They got it on the power play too, so it's like whatever. JT Miller then gets one on the power play to even it up in the second period, so 1 power play each way there, tie game. Third period, Tyler Myers. This was probably one of the best games I've seen Tyler Myers play. Unbelievable performance from him. Intercepts the puck at near the blue line, then skates through the neutral zone and just wires it top corner. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Myers, do more of that. But the funny thing about that play, as I was literally talking about it with the people I was watching the game with, and it's like if Tyler Myers does that pinch at the blue line where he intercepted the puck, say he misses it, then they're down on like a 2-on-1 or something and they score. Tyler Myers is the worst defenseman in the world. but he actually stops it and goes the other way and scores. Now he's the best in the world. It's just funny how the narrative changes. He makes a play that he's probably made so many times and has missed it, and the Canucks fans reading him out, but he makes it this time and actually succeeds, and now he's getting praised. I mean, good for him though. Then Fox scores on the power play, and then Zibanejad scores again on the power play. A couple back-to-back goals on the power play. That's what killed us. Like, those two quick goals, 100% is what lost us the game. It was the two-man advantage. I mean, they're going to score. The team's talented. The Rangers are good. They're going to score on 5-on-3s. Like, there's just no way they don't. Susie, though, somehow ties the game up in the third period just with a sick snipe. He, like, literally had to stretch to get the puck and then stood up and wound up for a slapper like instantly. It was honestly one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. And then K'Andre Miller does score in overtime, which is from the controversial non-call on PD. But in my opinion, like, we take a look at the box score here, both teams with 6 power plays, the Rangers scored on 3 of them. Like, special teams won the game here. The Canucks only scored on 1. They were 1 for 6. A team as talented as us cannot be just scoring 1 goal on 6 power plays. We got to at least have 2, maybe even 3. You got to go 50%, 30 something percent. Like, you can't just have 1. Also, on the flip side, I mean, you can't fault the penalty kill because 2 of those Rangers power play goals were on 5-on-3s. And what are you going to do on a 5-on-3? Like, you pretty much have to guarantee the team's going to score on a 5-on-3. You have to, like, kind of be prepared for that to happen because that typically does happen. So genuinely, if you don't take those 2 5-on-3s, I think the Vancouver Canucks win this game. We outshot them 33-24. I thought we played really good. Let's actually go back to the recap. I want to see the shots per period here. Yeah, so shots were pretty much even after the first period. Honestly, shots were pretty even almost every period except the second, where the Canucks kind of took that 4-shot deficit or 4-shot lead there. You can see the shots were 8-7 for the Rangers after the first, 9-5 in the second for the Canucks, and then 11-9 in the third for the Canucks. And in overtime, Vancouver dominated. I mean, Kuzmenko had one of the sickest moves, putting the puck between his legs and getting around the defender. Just Shesterkin robbed him. And then there was another move. I forget who it was. Might have been Kuzmenko again, where Shesterkin just got the glove on it and just robbed him short side, and he could have scored, and arguably should have. The Canucks could have won that game in overtime very easily before it even got to the PD trip. So yeah, the PD trip sucks. I mean, come on, like, what are you gonna do? The Canucks had their opportunities to score and win this game. Genuinely though, even though they lost the game, even though they lost it in the fashion they did, I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing from the Vancouver Canucks lately. Like, I said going into this game that if we lost in overtime, I'm happy. I'm a happy fan. Like, obviously I want them to win, but a loss in overtime is totally fine with me, totally acceptable to me, and honestly is a step above what we would have seen last year. We would have seen a terrible Canucks team this night last year if this was to happen, for sure, especially against the Rangers. They were on like a 3-game win streak or something like that. Like, they were coming in hot. So the fact on a back-to-back we forced overtime, big W. I'm loving what I'm seeing from the team. The compete level's good. I'm fine if the Canucks lose some games. Like, I'm not one of those fans that expect them to win every single game. I just want to see some compete. So if they even lost this in regulation, but they played as hard as they did, I wouldn't even be disappointed. It's like, come on, like, they gave it their all. They tried out there, and that's what I want to see from this team every single night. And it makes the games very exciting and very fun. And we definitely saw that last night. So it was a good game regardless. But thank you guys so much for watching. Again, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you guys would like to see me do these after every single game, it'll make the video a little shorter, around probably like 5-6 minutes. But if you guys would like to see me do this after every single game, comment down below, like the video, and also subscribe. It'll help me out and let me know that you guys want to see more of this. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.